Welcome to my first interview in a series of interviews with Data School Alumni. And today I have Gheorghie Lang from DS10 with me. Thanks for joining, Gheorghie.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about where you came from, how you got into the DS, and what you're doing now.
Yeah, sure. So I started out life as a mechanical engineer. I did 4 years mechanical engineering, left uni with a master's. And because of a whole bunch of reasons, I kind of struggled to find work in the engineering space. And my university work really lent on data anyway. And so I kind of, decided I'd give that a try to pursue. And I saw the Data School's website and ad. And I actually was approached by a recruiter as well. And I, attended the open evenings. I forget what they're called now.
Meet and greet.
Meet and greet, of course. Yeah, meet and greet. There's 3 pieces that won me over.
Yeah.
The kind of element of design and building stuff and the logic, all of that kind of worked well for me. Really, I went into engineering route because of a love of just liking to pull stuff apart and understand how things work. So I think that suited me in that sense. And so, then I obviously applied. I did Makeover Monday for a while, and I think that helped back when you did that, Andy. And, I eventually got in and enjoyed DS10, which I think was the first of the dual, the new intake cohorts. Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. What was it like being, that's when we first moved into our new office. I think half the week you had to be in a different office because we didn't have internet. But what was it like kind of being that first overlap group? Did it feel, well, I guess you wouldn't know any different, but what did you think of that experience being that first group? I guess you're the first, which is nice.
Yeah. It was good. It was, because it was a new experience, it's kind of difficult to have that kind of perspective, I guess. Right. But at the same time, it felt like the company was evolving. Right. Mm-hmm. And it was good to be at the start of a kind of a new chapter for the company. So in that way, you kind of were encouraged that you were kind of part of a growing company and you were part of that, like an integral expression of that growth and that the way that the company was changing. So that was really positive. It just also, there was a lot of stuff around at the time about you guys checking with us to how stuff was working. So I guess as well that gave us extra confidence in us, ourselves and the process really, and that we could feed back. Yeah.
I remember you and I having a chat before about DS10 and how different everybody is in that group. And, you've told me before that you probably would have never met these people anywhere else in your life. How do you think the data school, so, we bring this really diverse group, we bring this really diverse set of people together. How has that helped kind of your relationships, both with that group, but also outside of the data school?
So I think, at university, you can potentially be somewhat isolated in terms of like life experience and discipline. If you're just hanging around with a bunch of engineers like I was, that's, often skewed to certain demographics, obviously same age group, right? And then, you go into the DS and a place of work and learning, and you're learning in a room with, say, someone that's 10 years older than you and used to be a nurse, right? And they have a completely different everything. And I think that's really good because you learn from each other. You all have such diverse perspectives. You never feel almost out of place because no one is like what a data school it is, right? There's no set entity in DS10, and because we're also diverse, it felt more okay to be kind of have the pros and cons of who you are as a person. And also, I think it helped me in normalizing having lots of people, lots of different experience, which is incredibly important. Being a consultant, that you'll kind of interact with the CFO and then interact with person IT, and you've kind of got everyone has different perspectives, and it's kind of a training session in that, which is good. Yeah.
Good. How do you think the data schools helped prepare you for the jobs you've had since you left?
Yeah, well, So my job now, I guess I'll talk about what my job is at the moment. I work at a strategy consultancy, strategy and due diligence consultancy, hence the lovely view. And I'm a team leader for visualizations and tools team, for the visualization and tools team in the company. And Data School is literally just that. It is visualizations and tools, right? And so I wouldn't be where I am today without what I did at the Data School, like intrinsically. In that sense, it was more valuable probably than my degree. Right. In what I've done and how I've actually progressed in my career, and it gave me exposure to so many companies so quickly, and that really good experience that is kind of incomparable. If I did 2 years at a random company, you just do your day job, and you have probably the same use cases in day in and day out, whereas you kind of get multiple years of experience in just a year, right? And you just see so many companies, and you kind of get your name out there as well, and you speak to people who may have jobs in the future, or so yeah, I think it was very important.
What's the most important skill you learned during your 2.5 years with us?
Being exposed to so many people and just kind of getting on with it, and I guess the skill of being a consultant. You're in this weird place, especially when you're in the information lab and company, where you kind of exist within the company and also without of it. You are not an employee, but you're embedded within them. And so it gives you a really often, not always, but it often gives you this nice position where you can kind of do anything you want within the scope or interact with whoever. And that's a lot of freedom. And out of that, I think I gained a skill around just going up to people and just talking to them as a confidence and skill in, I guess, that soft skill of just talking to anyone.
Like the interpersonal skills, yeah.
Yeah, it's the interpersonal skills, and also as well the skill around simplifying things and just talking to people in a way that makes sense to them. Because a lot of some of the stuff that you can do, you can explain it in such an opaque way that no one knows what you're talking about, and you have to very quickly learn how to speak to people in a way that is accessible.
How did you go about preparing for life after the 2.5 years with us?
I think I did a lot more things that were related to other people in the information lab, which sounds weird, but for instance, I helped other DSs pass their certification, or I helped other DSs in a kind of external way where, like, I'd come into their engagement and I'd talk to stakeholders as though there was a very general junior consultant. And I think that gave, because I'm a manager now, it gave me that initial kind of not managerial experience, but that pseudo managerial experience of using your experience and expertise to assist someone else. Right. And I think that not only tested my thoughts that I wanted to be a manager, and I wanted to do that in a longer term sense, but it also built those skills as well, because I'd never really been in a position where I was really the subject matter expert on something, or I was like potentially a helpful voice when it comes to someone else's work.
What advice do you have for those that are coming up to the end of their 2.5 years then?
I think I would say test the waters of what you want to do, and also work out what you don't want to do. I think a lot of when people go, what do you want to do? What job do you want? That is such a difficult question to answer. I think sometimes just working out, potentially by process of elimination. I really dislike teaching, let's say. I don't, I'm fine with teaching, but let's pretend if you did some teaching and you worked out, maybe you volunteered to teach some DSs or something like that, that could potentially, cross that off the list or put it on the list. And I think it's just almost trial things. And so that can massively inform how you move forward.
What was the job market like for you when you left?
I have always found high demand for me, my skills. I have been in the position of having multiple job offers at once, more than once. And I've also been approached directly by people and companies, and been like, Gheorghie, we have a role for you. This is it. And it often people would kind of petition you, right? They kind of go, this is all the stuff, and they try and win you over. And that's such a different experience to what I had before I was in the DS. But when I was struggling to find work, right? Where I had multiple applications to graduate programs, and it was going nowhere. And now people are coming to me going, hey, we've got a job that we think, both people, random people on LinkedIn, but also people that I've networked with, I know, and that I've spoken to, who, you go, oh, Gheorghie, I kind of thought of you when this came up. So I found it, ample demand, I found. Yeah.
How are you getting the word out about yourself then? So, you say you've had multiple offers for roles. What are some of the things you're doing to make yourself more visible or more attractive, or what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, during the DS, I think it's stuff around, making sure your Tableau Public is good. I think the Tableau Public is great as a portfolio of your work, almost as like an extension of your CV, if you're going really for Tableau. So I think I've used that multiple times, and I've got so much more out of it than I put in. I've really built relationships one-to-one with people by, going to a lot of information. Despite being an alumni, I'm sure you agree, I do normally try and go to COVID
so
notwithstanding.
The networking part of that then.
Yeah, exactly. It's the networking part of the information lab is great. And also because I'm building a team, I'm thinking about hiring people from the DS, right?
Right.
So I'll be going to stuff at the information lab runs, just with that in my head. And now what I do doing that, I realize that I probably attended things before where people of my level, were doing the exact same thing, right?
Right.
So I think you kind of get a really, I guess, curated might be the word, set of people in our space. And just by turning up, you're miles ahead of a lot of people. The information lab and the DS name are quite significant, I think, on your CV.
That's good to hear. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Well, thanks for your time, Gheorghie. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.